if you can optimize your health and the way you're living and do everything you can to detect things before they're a problem, that is the way we have to move. And that is the opposite of the mindset of Irish people. We are reactive and we need to be preventative. And that's part of what we're trying to build with this, moving into the world of longevity science in a proper scientific way, that we're doing the right tests, that we're doing things that actually improve outcomes. I think there needs to be a pivot in the way we think here.
Caitriona, Niki, welcome to the pod.
Hi, Gary. Thanks for having us on.
Thank you for hosting me in this incredible location.
Thank you.
This is stunning. Where are we?
So we're in Ballsbridge. This is the Institute of Dermatologists. So you're in the extension side of it. So when we started Institute of Dermatologists now 6.5 years ago, we had 2 floors on the other side of the building. We were worried at the beginning when we opened that we had totally overstretched. It was a huge lease, a 20-year lease, and how would we ever fill it? And then within 3-4 years, we needed to build out another space to house all of our consultants and expand our cosmetic suite. So we're on the new side now.
I was really keen to talk to you both because you bust that myth that I hate, which is there's only one way to build a business. You have built, I don't know how many businesses do you have now?
5 between us, I think, yeah.
5. So what's the origin story? How did this all start?
Well, we're both doctors and we met 20-something years ago.
25 years
Yeah,
ago now.
when we were in our training years. And then we both went into dermatology. I think Caitriona went off to the United States. I was here and then over to the UK. And then she came back. And we're both consultant dermatologists. And then we were working in private practice. And then we decided to take the big leap and start, as we said, on the other side of the building. And then in September of 2024, this is where we built this side of the building. So 5 more consulting rooms and this lovely big waiting area space. So, yeah.
And I think what happened, Gary, is that, I'd been in the States for years where there's a very different model of private care. So you have centers of excellence in different specialties. So if you've got a dermatology problem, you go to the Center of Excellence of Dermatology. If you cardiology, you go to see a cardiologist in a cardiology center where you've got all of the best of everything. In Ireland, the private practice model was very, it still is for the most part, very much solo practitioners, that have rooms in a private hospital. So what we were trying to do, and myself and Niki talked about it a lot, is try and rebuild that center of excellence where multiple consultants of the same specialty who each have different skills work together under one roof with your specialty nurses and bring all aspects of the care to somebody. So we were actually beside each other working separately in 2 rooms. So we chatted and we said we're going to reproduce this, because it brings, it's better for everyone involved. Obviously the patient is always at the center, but it's actually better for the consultants too, because you've got that cross-pollination. Everyone gets better together and you just deliver much better standards of care. And it is a very scalable business as well. So, I think a lot of people think that doctors can't be business people, certainly in Ireland. And we are naturally pretty bad at it. But I think if you can do healthcare really well, a great business can bring even better healthcare results to people as well. So I think it's a model that I think will change in Ireland. We've had a lot of people from different specialties come and talk to us about it. But it naturally grew then out of that. We had our, Institute of Dermatologists, which is it's a centre of excellence for both medical and cosmetic dermatology. Again, they were things that were quite separate. So
what's the difference between those two?
So medical, you'll come to me for your skin cancer checks, your mole checks. I'll treat your acne, your psoriasis, eczema, contact dermatitis, hair loss. We do an awful lot of hair loss. That's one of my special interests as well. So that's all of the medical derm. Then cosmetic dermatology is things like anti-wrinkle injections, dermal fillers, the whole spectrum of lasers. There's no great machine that we don't have, and it's because we have this centre. We've got such a huge throughput of patients, and there's the whole skincare side of things too, which is a minefield for lots of consumers out there. So people who have completely healthy skin that want it to be better. So we do a huge amount of skincare, medical grade skincare, both in clinic and online. So we've very much built our online business and our online skincare sales, and we've developed the Centre of Medical and Cosmetic Dermatology. But then after that, what was missing, and what I really missed from the US, is that in the US you could do everything under one roof, which included the skin cancer surgery. So in Ireland, in private practice, you need to go to a private medical hospital, an inpatient hospital. We both do our skin cancer surgeries in Blackrock Clinic. And in the States, when I saw a patient, I'd see their funny mo, and it would be gone by the time they left the room. I would do everything, in the same visit. Much better for the patient. You don't have somebody who's waiting 6 weeks to come in and do something and then has to go off and get the pathology and everything else. So during COVID, and actually I let Niki is the skin cancer expert here. That's really her field. But I think that COVID brought a new sort of aspect to things for us as well.
Before we jump into that one, I want to know what was the hardest part. You said something really interesting there. There's this thing about doctors not being good business people. Mm-hmm. So what was for you, what was the hardest transition part?
I think it was a total leap of faith. Like we were changing the paradigm of delivery of care, opening a centre, sort of not a mini hospital, but not far off. And where people going to come, and that was definitely, and signing a 20-year lease in the centre of Bowesbridge. We've got incredibly high rent, so all of that as well. So that was, I think, something very different. And looking back now,
would we have done it?
She
was pregnant at the time. I think all these things go through her head when she's pregnant. We're like, don't let her make any more decisions.
Yeah, whenever I got pregnant, I got a new idea. We have to stop having kids. And we had to have it open by the time I had the baby, was my thing. So literally from the time we had the chat, that was November, we had the place open by July. And that was everything to do with all of the logistics and everything else, and a whole fit out. It was a shell. So when we decide to do something,
we do it.
Yeah, we're both really hard workers, execute.
Is urgency a key part then of your makeup? Is that, because that's an incredibly tight turnaround, and people will see here, we're actually in your place here, but it doesn't look like a medical centre. It looks like a nice hotel.
It's an experience.
Yeah. White and bright.
And I think that's always been a really important thing for us here too. Our patients are patients, but they're also customers, and they come and they pay money for a consultation, and it should be a lovely experience, not a daunting experience from beginning to end. And we feel we've an amazing team. We have an amazing group of medical secretaries, admin staff, nurses here, and that's very much part of our ethos and our culture here. A patient can come in very nervous about what they're coming. From the time they walk in the door, they get they get greeted in a lovely way. They get all of that hand holding, and they leave with a smile on their face. Our team are an extension of us, and what our patients' experience is, and that's really, really important, especially on the medical side.
Customer care and customer service, putting the customer at the center of that. You're incredibly busy. So how have you set standards? Because I think that's the biggest thing, is that founders often find they reach this velocity of growth, maybe to get to 10 staff, 20 staff, and then things start to slide and get difficult. How do you set standards?
I actually think it's probably been the opposite here. And maybe it's different for us because it's not a customer at the center. It's a patient at the center, which really does change the way you think about things. And I think the culture of somewhere for, our doctors, our nurses, and everyone else involved. So if anything, I think our processes have become more so that there's no room for error or patient's appointment not being missed or anything else. There's a lot of logistics here as well, when not just to do with the booking a patient's appointment, but their surgery, everything else that comes, their instructions. And I think with the volume of patients that come through here now, it's about 40,000 a year. We have things so streamlined that there's no room for error. So the standards are so high. They've become more and more that way. And that's really important as well, Gary, when it comes to building any business. I think if you have to have that framework and the logistics so good that when you scale, that it scales so easily then. And I do think it probably took us 3 to 4 years to get things exactly where we want it. And we have we do have it and that's something that I think we're really proud of as well.
My headline sponsor in 2026 is Nostra. They have a really unique way of serving Irish companies. Kevin has backed me again in 2026 as he felt we're a fit. as Nostra-backed founders and entrepreneurs, just like I do. They take the headache of IT away and deliver all the technology and people. But most of all, they speak to clients in plain English, just like we do on the pod. They deliver from companies from 1,000 all the way down to 20 employees. Nostra's tagline is, take control of your IT, which means they give companies a view of what they have, how it all works, so leaders in the company understand IT. This episode of The Entrepreneur Experiment is brought to you by Azure Communications. If you're building a brand, how it shows up in the real world matters, just like you see on the pod. And that's where Azure Communications come in. Azure specializes in high quality print and packaging solutions that help businesses look professional, credible, and ready to scale. From packaging and point of sale materials to branded print that actually reflects the quality of your product, Azure works closely with businesses of all sizes to get the details right. Whether you're launching something new or upgrading how your brand appears, Azure Communications helps you make a strong impression where it counts. Find out more at azurecom.ie. That's azurecom.ie. Some of you may remember Rory from Rory's Travel Club in episode 421. Rory's Travel Club has over 250,000 customers in Ireland, and yes, I am one of them. If you're interested in offers on 5-star hotels, cruises, family holidays, and much more, then you've got to go check them out. Also, over 250 companies have signed staff up to their amazing travel offers, and it's only €10 per employee for a whole year. So, if you love travel or want to treat your staff to the gift of travel, then head to rorystravelclub.com today or email inquiries@rorystravelclub.com for more info.
And how do you sit across that then as founders? I think founders listening who aren't in this space can learn a lot from this great book, Unreasonable Hospitality. That's about running the best restaurant in the world. You're trying to run the best clinics in the world. So founders from a totally different industry, how can they steal from you? What can they take from you now? What have you learned in terms of patient care and in terms of keeping the standards and the systems? So what would you do differently, again, to set up the highest standard of customer/patient care?
You need to listen to your staff and get their feedback. Like, when Caitriona and I are in the room, we have potentially 40 patients a day. We are locked into that room, but we have regular meetings with our business manager, our nurse manager. Their training has to be always up to date, the best. And then they would see things that we can't see because we're in with the patient. So if they're seeing things in the cosmetic suite, they will bring it to us. We sit around as a whole team and get everyone's opinion as to how we could change processes, what we can put in place to make it more streamlined for the patient. So I think getting your own team feedback is really important.
It's all about your team. It's all about them feeling how much you care. And I think that's infectious. Like our team is so proud of what we've done as well. But we've so many meetings. Like we have we had our meeting today. We have a meeting every lunch break. And they're mainly with the team. So we've got our management meeting with all of the cosmetic suite staff. On a Thursday, we have a practice management meeting that's more to do with business. We are meeting all the time and that happens at lunchtime, and we've meeting every lunchtime, and then we have meetings several of the mornings as well with our team. And it is that, and you can't take your finger off that pulse. Like we have an agenda for each of those meetings so that we make sure it goes through absolutely every aspect of the business and complaints and every aspect of it. And I think nothing ever falls through the cracks that way. And there's a forum there for feedback the whole time. So we know if there's a problem somewhere and can sort it out very easily.
You seem very intensely across the board, right? You seem like you're tuning in right across the board. What was the biggest challenge though from setting up? Because I think people will listen and go, they are dialed, and you are. But what was the biggest challenges you faced setting this up?
Well, I don't think there was a challenge. Once we put our mind to it, we just did it. I think actually when COVID hit, the biggest challenge for us is when the hospitals closed. We would both have surgical lists, all the doctors here did, and we were shut out of the hospitals. So you've got people that you're supposed to be operating on that week with melanoma, squamous cell carcinoma, so potentially deadly skin cancers. And we were told, like, this is it. It's good. And we didn't know how long it was going to close for. And it essentially closed for 3 to 4 months. And that's when we got the idea, well, why can't we just do it here? We have theatre grade lights. We just got all the equipment in. We operated on all of our patients. And that was actually what made me able to sleep at night, because when I went home thinking, oh my God, what am I going to do? we were able to just do it. And then afterwards, our patients came back for their follow-up visits. And then they were like, often when you've got a skin cancer, you're going to get another one. So the chances are you're then taking them back into the hospital. They're like, why can't you just do it here like you did the last time? And that was when we were like, well, yeah, why can't we? And that's where the whole journey for the surgical centre started.
And I think Gary, that's it in medicine or in business. When you see something that doesn't make sense, it's actually, acting on that. And that's where the new skin cancer and skin surgery centre of excellence has come from. It was sort of born out of our problems. If there's a problem there, it's probably a problem for everyone. And if you can turn that around, and that has been that's been now 6 years in the makings, doing the surgical institute around the corner. But it means now we give our patients the absolute gold standard of care. We have a see and treat model. That somebody comes into the surgical institute, and Mo needs to come off. It gets taken off, that day, same time they leave with no stress. So I think the biggest problems you encounter can end up being, where you have, the best ideas, or where you pivot. I think that's happened so many times with us, things that become a challenge. When it came to COVID, another thing that happened was obviously we could keep going with our medical appointments, but the whole cosmetic suite, all of our cosmetic nurses, everything.
It was 9 months into opening the business.
We'd opened 9 months beforehand. We'd huge bills, we'd everything
expensive
going
machines,
on.
just couldn't use them.
And so I think we took loads of opportunities out of that. We completely grew the online sales business. We started doing tele-dermatology as much as we could, skincare consults online. So we grew in all sorts of directions without planning to, but it actually complemented our whole business and grew our sort of the ecosystem that we've built here, the dermatology ecosystem. So I think, these sort of challenges can really, you can really get lots out of them.
How do you work together as co-founders? Because you seem quite similar. Usually when I meet co-founders, they're extremely different.
So, well, no, we were like, I think because we know each other so long, and when you're working as a junior doctor on call, if someone has your back, like they're the best person in the world. It's hard. We did the 100-hour weeks and stuff like that, and that's how I knew how hard Caitriona worked. She the same with me. So I think we knew then we could make this work. So we both have totally independent businesses as dermatologists. She has hers, I have mine, and we see our own patients. And then we have to fit all those meetings in around that, because we're with 40 patients a day. So it is every lunchtime, and because of the other businesses now, it's every evening basically, and before work. And we'll obviously message each other on the weekend if something. There's 24 hours a day.
We work out together now as well.
Do Tricot, do High Rocks. We're like work wives, and now doing High Rocks. But
We're very different though. Like we are very different. So we've common things that make us work really well together. So, and I think it's our work ethic. We're both. Niki is the hardest working person I know, apart from, I think I work for her too. Perfect. So and we both,
apart from myself, the humbleness.
No, totally.
But we are and the two of us. I hate when people don't text back straight away or email back straight away, because if I can, they can. We're both like that. So we're both really hardworking. And I think we both have a lot of energy.
Yeah.
But then we're completely different in other ways, and I think this is why we work. I think Niki is so much more stable is the wrong word, because I don't mean I'm unstable, but Niki is much more a black and white person, and which is great. It's a no is a no, and I get a bit more excited about things. So I think I'm a bit more creative. I think of ideas, and Niki is very logical, and so we've never had a fight in all our years.
Never.
No, we've never had a fight. So it just works really, really well. And then as we moved in the other business we've gone into, or I've been looking ages back into longevity. I'm obsessed with longevity, dementia, all of those different scopes. So myself and Niki then started talking about that, and we've developed a supplement together.
I'm dying to talk to you about that, but before I can't move on without finding out, how do you manage your days and your weeks? Because they sound packed.
They are.
Yeah.
And we both have kids as well.
Yeah, we start early and we finish late.
Yeah.
Bring me through a day in each of your lives. I think that'd be really fascinating for people
So
listening.
Niki gets up earlier.
Yeah. So I get up at 6, and then I work out at 6. Because there's no way I'd get it done. Like, we're on meetings, Teams calls until 10:30 at night. There's no way I could get it done after work. So I feel psychologically set for the day, energized. I'm in the car at 7. I drop my little girl to school in the city centre. I'm back here at about 8:07. I eat my breakfast in the car.
7 minutes past 8. I
yes.
think that sums you up.
And then first patient at 8:15. And then, every day ends differently. But for me, Mondays is the longest. So I'd finish around 7. And then often we're rushing home. We have to jump in a team call at 8 o'clock. And yeah, that would be a typical day. But of course, then some days you're in theatre, so you're not here in the clinic. For now, we're obviously driving into the hospital, but I will be very happy when I just have to walk across the road and operate there. But like then we could be on the radio. We have a slot with Pat Kenny, so some mornings you're heading in there, and then you set your clinic around that. But I mean, our secretaries are incredible at organising our diaries. We're not as incredible as always informing them that we have an extra meeting. Sometimes I'm guilty of not putting it in the diary, but they're really good at organising things for us. Yeah.
Caitriona?
So mine would be pretty similar, except I'm not as good in the mornings. So I get up at 5:30 in the mornings. I go to the gym. I go across to a gym called Fee and I do my high-rocks classes. But the other days it's probably 7:15. Get the kids up. I need them ready for my nanny who takes over at 8 because she brings them to school. And I go into work then. And I see patients every day till 6:30. And I think that the hardest thing about our schedule actually, Gary, has to be that we don't have any flexibility. My patient list is booked out for, 2 years in advance. There's no flexibility to move. It's not like when somebody says, can we have a meeting at 2 o'clock? No. I'm like, no, it has to happen between 1:15 and 2.
I can get you in 2028 at 3 p.m.
Yeah. Well, no, we can do lunch times. I can do 8:30 meetings between 8:30 and 9. And then when I come home, it's usually about 6:45, 7 by the time I get home. I've an hour a bit with the kids. They go to bed, and then that's why the teams meetings don't start till 8 to get the kids to bed. So I had my kids much later in my 40s, so my kids are quite small, so I have that time with them. I work Monday to Thursday in the clinic, and then Fridays is meetings. So yeah, and then weekends is running around rugby and Gaelic and soccer and all that sort of thing. And then we do have away meetings sometimes at the weekends too. So we're really lucky to have. I've an amazing nanny and a great partner. So we've got a lot of support that way. I have another 5 stepkids as well. So there's 7 altogether. So there's a lot going on.
You're massively into longevity and balance. How do you manage energy then? Because they sound like they're very intense days. Sleep might get squeezed.
I think we're just both really energetic people. I genuinely, I don't know, I don't feel tired. We're now obviously on our supplement, and I think we've more energy. But I think we're just we're kind of positive people. January is a terrible month, but I'm like, look, it's nearly over. I think we're very similar in mindset.
We definitely.
And we see, if you see a hurdle, we're like, look, let's just jump over it or go around it. There has to be a way. So I don't think, this is not always going to be a straight line, and we just deal with it.
And I think, I wonder if, say, I had done it all by myself, or Niki had done it all by herself, would I be jaded now? And I probably would. So I think, we definitely are both high energy. People say to us the whole time, and people who meet us and know us. But I actually think that when you're doing, especially when the problems come, because they're inevitable, that when you're doing things together, everything is sort of surmountable. You've got each other to. I actually wonder would the stress, kill your energy if we weren't in it together. So I do think we have it easier than most founders who run solo. I think that's very lonely. I know we're very lucky to have our groups with the EOY group and things like that to bounce ideas. But we can do it by ourselves a lot of the time. And having meetings at 8:15 at nighttime, whatever. When Niki's on it too, it's easier. It's not that it's not as much of a slog, I think. So I think we get energy from each other.
Yeah, I think you doubt yourself more if you're just in it by yourself. I think just always having that soundboard to say, is this the right thing to do? And then we'll sleep on it and then go, yeah, let's go.
And the great thing about
we don't sleep on it for very long though.
No, we make decisions and go, and we actually. It's very rare, even when it came to the decor of these places. We've designed a few places at this stage. The people love working with us from the fit out companies because we're like, yes, no, yes, no.
Bring us 2 or 3 tiles,
yes, bang, bang. They've never seen people make decisions as quickly. So we're good at that. But the funny thing is, I'm often the I come up with ideas sometimes, but Nikki's really good at being like, yeah, great idea, no. And the no is that's it. Nikki's a really good knower as well. She usually
Talk to
gets
me
it
about
right.
this, because people would be like, they can't be that good. They can't be that close. Talk to me about disagreements then. Like, do you disagree and commit, or how do you decide? Because it's obviously 50-50. So how do you decide
No,
that?
we don't disagree and commit. Like, as in, we just talk it out, and like, if it's right for us, if it's right for the business, we haven't had.
And the odd time when
yeah.
Nikki's like, oh no, but you not think this, and I'm like, oh yeah, you're totally right. Like, so she's
Yeah.
we're very good that way together.
There's time and there's no egos, right? You've
No.
had so much time together at this
We
stage.
don't have time for that. Yeah,
Yeah.
we need to concentrate on sleep. That's the next thing.
How do you decide what to say yes to? Because I'm sure you get a lot of
I'm very bad
opportunities.
at-
No,
I'm
she's
very-
terrible at that. That is actually
I
true.
have terrible FOMO about
Yeah.
everything. I like, it's not that I can't say no. I just want to do everything. Even
Yeah.
run up to Christmas, I'm out every night. You know, I'm desperate.
No, I'm a little bit quieter, and I now, as you can probably hear from this podcast, I have vocal cord nodules, and I need to learn how to stop talking. So I've had to say no since last year. I didn't go out over the whole of Christmas. I stay quiet. Yeah, I think, but yeah, I don't think Caitriona has the no button.
Because everything seems like an opportunity. Now I am good at going, no, that's just stupid.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, as in I don't, but
But
when I
works
get
for the
excited
business,
about
yeah.
something, then like it's like, oh no, here she goes. People don't even like when I go on holidays, Gary, because
She's too much time in her hands.
Yeah. So yeah, no, but it's all been so much fun. Like, it really has. Like, there's the odd time myself and Nick are pulling our hair out about things or stressed about things, but it's been such a brilliant journey. It really has. And you know, we don't have any regrets. I don't think we
No.
we don't think we've made any big mistakes.
Talk to me then about longevity, because it brings us nicely onto ID formulas. What was the spark for that?
So I think the spark was, we do something on Instagram called Ask ID, and so like just the followers send in questions, and we kept getting asked about what supplements to take, and I love the whole preventative health, longevity. You know, Peter Attia is my hero. And I think it was more, we were asking about supplements, and the more I got into I'm all about the science. I'm a total, I spent a lot of time in the US doing translation science and systemic inflammation. So when people started asking about what would help with the aging process, and you think that people think of aging as their skin and hair, and what really works, and a lot of it was about collagen, which actually there's very good science behind. I went down rabbit holes, and dementia is another big area that I feel very strongly about. I'm terrified of getting dementia. Like, my brain is probably my only real asset. So really it was cellular health and cellular function. And if you go into it, like, why do we become decrepit? You know, we see it on the outside, and I think this is why we often get involved in a lot of dermatologists are very involved in basic science research, because we have access to our tissue when it comes to looking at experiments and things like that. But it's the same cellular processes throughout your body. So we get to see your skin getting older looking and decrepit, hair loss, that sort of thing. But it's all to do with cellular function, you know, how your mitochondria stop performing in the same way, sirtuin activities, telomerase. I don't want to bore everyone, but looking at what actually changed all of those parameters and allowed cells to function better. And in the end, you know, I was like, Nikki, I think we should do a supplement. You know, everyone's asking us about supplements, but there's actually no dermatologist formulate a supplement at all when we went and did. And there's people who talk about being skin experts, but nobody who were actually consultant dermatologists. And then it grew legs, because there was nothing, because of my FOMO, that made a difference that we couldn't put in, that we couldn't leave out. So it grew. Now we have, you know, the usual vitamins, minerals, you know, creatine, collagen in it, but it was the super potent antioxidants and things that actually reverse biological age. So
what is it?
So it is a supplement. So we had to keep the omegas separate, because there was no way of the supplement would have tasted horrible with it. But it's 2 omegas. That was an aside, and then a supplement that you mix. So 32 ingredients in the supplement, 12 grams a day that you mix with 400 mils of water, and you take it once a day, and it has absolutely everything you need. bar your probiotic, because that isn't stable in the mix. You wouldn't be able to have proper stability there. And people will take it once a day. It's launching here end of March. But we have randomized clinical trials going on that will finish in about 4 weeks' time, that will show the reversal of biological age with that. And we're looking at every parameter that we can affect with cellular function. So we're looking at cognitive processing speeds, all of the skin metrics, so transepidermal water loss, cutometry, corneometry, wrinkling scales, hair density measures, so hair counts, shaft size. Then we're looking at sleep, vitality scales, and libido scales as well. So that's the randomized control trial. So we've got people on the supplement and people on placebo. I'm all about the science. I really am. There's so much quackery going on in the world of longevity science. There's good stuff, and then there's so many people that people follow, like gods, who are, I won't even go there. It drives me absolutely insane. So
what are the big myths? Let's break into this, because it's really interesting. We talk about the body, the business, the brain. I think there's too much focus on business. People just go hard in the business side of things, and they tend to ignore the body, the brain. What is the big misconceptions you see? You said there's a lot of quackery. What are they? Because let's just burst a few bubbles right here and there. What are the actual things you see that are like, that's completely nonsense?
So, there's so many things that are trending, Gary, with no science behind them, like these IV NAD. Like, what you do want to take is high dose nicotinamide. That's where all the science is. That's where you have all the data, especially when it comes to reducing cancer risk. We've done actually that in skin cancer. So the studies that show taking the dose we have in our longevity supplement reduces skin cancer frequency by up to 67%. The data is there. The people starting to take infusions of peptides, there is no data there yet. Like, you have to, and this is where I suppose we're different. We are both scientists, we're both professors, and we have to be able to stand over absolutely everything, especially if we're putting something out there.
Peptides is the one at the minute, right? We're having a buzz at the minute. It's January 26th now. Peptides are everywhere. Every second Instagram story is peptides.
But
What's
it's
the
like,
story
it'd be
there?
dangerous. I mean, when you hear people, they're injecting this and injecting that, like there's no data, like you just don't know what's going to happen to them.
And all peptides are parts of protein. Like, I think it's the new buzz term. And now, topically they help at certain, if they're the right molecular weight, but there has been no studies done looking at IV peptides. Hyperbaric studies. There's so much out there where there's no data. And then there's other good data,
Yeah, let's look at the good data now. Let's go right. There's people listening at home. They can't get ID formulas yet. When they can get that, that'll be great. But in the meantime, what can they start doing? This is scientifically backed for longevity.
Do you know what is the most scientifically backed thing? Exercise. VO2 max. Like, if you really want it, like, and again, you see, you can exercise for free, and people are going out there spending $2,000, $3,000 on these quack infusions, and the business are doing really well. But if you really want to improve your longevity and your health, and people talk about longevity. For me, I would prefer to live to 80 and die than to live to 100 and be decrepit and demented for 20 years. So actually, it's all about living better. Healthspan is the term I prefer now. Living healthier if you can live healthier at every decade than you would have without the interventions, that's when you make real change. And the first thing is exercise. Then sleep is huge. Really, really important. Social interaction is really important too, and these have all been shown in really good, well done studies. And then nutrition is really important, but the supplement should be the last of all those things. And people that are promising the world with other things, it kills me, because it's hard to earn cash for people, and they really are trying to make themselves healthier, better, and they're going about it the wrong way. And that's where we, like, dermatology and longevity science sit really well together, because we have all the science of the organ that shows you from the outside in, and it's trying to improve that from the inside out, and we'll have the science there to prove it as well. We actually also have a user study, and we're really excited about that. We have 70 people on it, KOLs, and then other people who are friends and supporters, who we've had on ID formulas for the last 8 weeks. And we have a partnership with Whoop, so we have an integration with biometric feedback, and that will be there. And for the consumers, when we launch this, an API integration that will be Because what I want is somebody goes on our supplement, and it's not just we tell them they're going to feel better, hopefully they feel better, but also we have ID questionnaires. They'll get their ID score looking at all the different pillars of longevity. And if they choose to integrate their Whoop or their Aura Ring, they will see their improvements in their parameter over time, because people deserve to see their data. And when they put money into something, that they actually have not just subjective change, but they see objective changes as well. And that's really, really important to us. Like we're all about, and it's here. Like we are results driven when it comes to any of our cosmetic procedures tier 2, and the staff are very much trained there too. It's harder in cash for people, and we need to be really, really responsible and make sure that they get the best that they can for it.
I love the Whoop partnership. I've been using the Whoop since 2019. I love the fact that you're actually teamed up with them, because I think, like you said, it's not a magic bullet, but I think you need to be reminded all the time.
Yeah, and I think it gives you focus.
We get
and
distracted, right? We're distracted by
you see something
nature.
dropping off, you're like, I'm gonna up that again. And
Or,
you know,
I ran out of my ID formulas, and like, oh look, my
It's
recovery's
off,
going down or whatever. So I think that, and actually, just from a business model, Gary, with this supplement, customer retention is everything. And when we have something that shows them how they've improved, then they're going to stay with it, because they really believe in it, and we want them to believe.
What
in
about
it.
people taking it but then living the other way, right?
Well,
They're not exercising, because
No,
it sounds
maybe a few of them around
it
here.
sounds brilliant,
You
right?
can't, yeah.
It sounds
Yeah.
great, but a lot of what you said there, exercise, reduce alcohol, sleep, people know what they should do, but getting to do it is a different thing.
Yeah,
So
you
how
can't
are you
exactly out-train a bad diet, is what they always say.
Precisely,
And,
right?
like everyone thinks it's all about the exercise, and if you just up your exercise, weight will drop or things like that. No, you can't. Like, I mean, we're not saying that this is to supplement your bad life, and this is to be synergistic in everything else you're doing. But I think if you're like following and tracking your parameters, and you're drinking your supplement and things are getting better, just like when you look at your Whoop, if you're in the red, people are like, oh God, I better cop myself on. And whether that was alcohol or because they haven't been out partying and not sleeping, it kind of changes your mindset. I know a few people who've gotten a Whoop who, when they drank and they went into the red, they stopped drinking. So I think it's all of those things coming together, but it's not to replace your diet or your exercise.
Is your target audience someone like me who's already very, very engaged in the data, training 8, 9, 10 times a week, is already bought into the lifestyle?
You're not our only target, and I'll be completely honest here. So we've done an awful lot of market research, and we have about 6 profiles that we're targeting, and you are definitely one of them. Niki probably falls into your category as well. A biohacker, people who really are trying to do absolutely everything they can, and this is the best supplement for them. Like, we plan to take over the AG1 IM8 market, because our supplement is so much better. I know, obviously I'm biased, but what we have in it is, and we have pretty much everything that they need, bar their probiotic in it. But then there's the person who's maybe a little bit more like me, who I'm healthy and I work out, but I want to reverse the clock. I'm like, even more so. So and then there's all of these. There's people who are absolutely, who aren't working out, who can't get the time to. There might be a single mom. They might be working the sort of hours that they can't.
Yeah, just busy.
They
business
want it
people.
too. We have the Wall Street, stockbroker who's chugging this, when he comes in from a night out, well, actually the morning afterwards, because, for circadian rhythms, you really want people to have this in the morning. But actually there's all of those profiles, and it will appeal to people for different reasons. But obviously we're going to advocate the healthy lifespan. And what we really want this to become as well is an educational platform, a community, and that there, hopefully we'll be able to show it to Gary, but showing the whole biohacking side to it, and that's part of the interface. That's going to be part of the consumer journey as well, and building that out over time to actually see what's falling down, and that'll probably be our next project, having longevity centers, because there's so much you can bring with this, rather than just hand someone a supplement.
That would be amazing. A longevity center that looks like this. I've said this so many times in the podcast, so I'm already bought in. Like, it should look like a hotel. It should feel really high end. I think that would be amazing. What would you put in your longevity center?
I definitely. Well,
Oh,
we were talking
VO2
about
max,
today.
you were already talking about.
Yeah, we're
I
talking
really
to
enjoyed
someone-
doing that test, actually. I really enjoyed it. And see
So-
the next one. But yeah, definitely.
Yeah, so we've already talked to someone about that. So, yeah, the VO2, because what you want are metrics that people can improve, and that's one of the ones that is most amenable to change, seeing positive change in, because you want things that are they're tangible for people too. I think a huge part of the longevity center then also needs to be having an exercise physiologist and nutritionist. That's really, really important as well. So there's a whole load of it, and we've been exploring it over the last, probably year and a half, and with Connor, our partner as well. He's involved in both. Connor Murphy involved in both the surgical center and the supplement. How we really disrupt the market with this as not just a supplement, but a new way of life, and but a scientifically led one, not the quackery that we're seeing everywhere.
You kind of answered my question already, but I kind of want to dabble into it a wee bit more. Who are your main competitors? AG1?
AG1 IM8.
That's a big market. It's
Yeah,
an ambitious
very
goal.
much. Yeah. We're ambitious.
We don't
ladies.
do anything on the small scale.
Oh,
And when we go, we go hard.
We're
so,
together
yeah.
an hour. I've already got that. I got that after like 60 seconds. What would you love to happen with this? Like when you look in, because I know you've already planned this out. What would you love?
I would love if Peter Attia says this is the best. He's our hero, the best supplements he's ever come across. And so, really, yeah.
He's on the hit list for the pod, so we
Is
can
he?
we
Oh,
can work
there you
out
go.
together.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah, no, I'd love that. Sorry, and I jokes aside, I
But
do
for,
think
yeah,
if,
people to feel that. I mean, like, obviously we're looking after patients here first and foremost, and we always want to try and provide the 360 of skin health. So if we see them medically, if they have rosacea, for example, spots on their face, we can treat them medically, but then they might need laser therapies or light therapies. Then they go down to the cosmetic suite, they get that done. So they're eventually walking out the door after a few months going, God, I've gotten my skin back. But to add to that, the synergistic effect of a supplement, just to make people feel better. We're all living in a busy world, busy lives, so much stress. This is just one simple thing that you can take every
and
day.
actually, it is like, obviously, again, the people who are feeding back to us are our friends and colleagues, and we've got cardiologists on the user journey. We have longevity experts, nutritionists that have worked with Olympic teams, and also to other people. But the feedback we're getting, myself and Niki are high-fiving each other with, like, incredible stuff, and people having energy levels like they've never had. I didn't tell you this yet. I had someone who said her wounds healed like she'd never seen, like nails, hair, people complaining about their hair growing so quickly that they have to get their roots done more often now. So it's getting that feedback, and actually if this supplement, and obviously we'll go further than the supplement as we branch out into this, but if it makes the difference that we're hearing back from the people who are on it right now. We've no feedback yet from the randomized control trial, because they're in an anonymized group that we will never meet, but we'll get their feedback at the end of the study. But from our user journey, if it causes if the consumers are going to feel the changes that we're getting the feedback on right now, it'll have to be a blockbuster, I think.
How do you build out this team? Because you've already got this will be your fifth business.
Yeah.
How do you now allocate time to this? How do you think of this as a resource? Because like launching one business is tough. How are you going to now launch this competitor to AG1?
So
we kind of divided and conquered as we went along. We did everything together for the first few businesses, and then when it came to the surgical center and ID formulas, Caitriona has then kind of led on ID formulas and myself on the surgical center, because we can't be at every meeting. There's not enough lunchtimes or evenings. So we had started to kind of separate it out. But on all the important stuff and the next steps, we're on both. But yeah, it's...
And sorry, the other big difference for us is our partner, Connor Murphy, who is like a ninja as well, financially and every other way too. So Connor is heading up operations on ID formulas, and that's made a huge difference as well. Because we're coming from the scientific side and the patient-led side and everything else, but somebody who has that sort of on the finance side and the ops side is absolutely phenomenal as well. So I think we're sort of a dream trio on ID formulas and the surgical center. He brings an awful lot from the business side to us as well, and he's a total health freak. Like Connor has a higher heart rate variability and VO2
than anyone I've ever seen, actually.
How do you raise heart rate variability?
Well, actually,
Literally, it's the one thing I'm trying to focus on right now, and I'm really struggling to raise it up high.
so
You kind of have to do everything right. Yeah.
it is
Exercise,
actually
sleep
doing
right.
everything else.
Yeah.
One of the big things you can do though is sprint training as well. Things in bursts, but you will see stress really impacts
Absolutely.
heart rate variability, and it's actually often when your rate variability starts to go down, Gary. It can be a sign of illness coming on, or just sort of burnout, that sort of thing too. So that's really, really important. And we have definitely had changes in heart rate variability with our supplement. We're not quite sure how.
I'm going to have to get on this. If this is even half as good, that's what.
No, and
people listen to be like, sign up for waitlist, sign up for waitlist, sign up for waitlist. We'll put a link in the bio. So talk to me then. This sounds expensive, right? This sounds like a big, big business, right?
Yeah.
AG1 is one of the biggest consumer brands in the
It's
world.
so expensive, Gary, and we haven't hit on our exact RRP yet, so I don't want to misinform people here. But it's so expensive, we won't be able to retail it. It'll have to all be direct to consumer because the ingredients, the dosages of the longevity ingredients are as high as they are. We'd have to retail it at about, I think, €600 a month to have it in retail units. Yeah. So we're trying to, we've devised a model, a D2C model that we think is going to operate really, really well. And actually the D2C model suits us for this because this will be subscription. We want complete control. We sound like control freaks now, but over people getting it every month on the month and having their question, their metrics sent to them every month as well. And we can only do that when the fulfillment side is done by us. So we're building a different model using D2C, but involving longevity, cosmetic clinics and experts in sports medicine into the model too. And we don't want influencers. We want medics or clinicians or people who are experts in the sports and nutrition field, and that's how we're going to build it out. And I think that's how we'll be very different to AG1 and IM8. And I think it's been built in a very different, scientifically led, but also bringing in tech. I think we're so lucky to have that, and more people want to see their metrics. They want to see their data. And if they're doing an intervention, especially an expensive intervention, they need to see the results there.
Yeah, I think that's important, right? And the hopping on, hopping off. You need people who are going to commit to this for like 12 months. Because
be afraid to
change takes time.
We see it in the skin because, people come in and, I'm going to put this cream on for a week and my skin is like, it doesn't work like that. I mean, a skin cycle is somewhere from 21 to 28 days. So when we're doing treatments on people, often it's a course of treatment. And even, people are trying to stimulate new collagen with cream, with topical retinoids, you're really going to see the true benefits from 6 months onwards. So you have to commit to that, just like you have to commit to this. A month on it is not suddenly going to change your life forever. So it's consistent.
We see a big
that's
difference
like
in energy levels within 2 weeks. But the skin changes don't happen until 6 weeks. And we're seeing actually the hair and nails at that point as well. And yeah. It has been. So I think people will know within 6 weeks that it works for them. But it's 12 weeks before you have optimal changes in all of the rest of them. And hair will be 6 months to see the optimum results with it.
Do you have frameworks on how you work? Because you seem so, regimented in how do you have frameworks on how you map out like the quarter and the year? Because planning is obviously a huge part of your business. Founders consistently run into planning issues, right? Oh, I don't have time to do this, don't have time to do that. How do you plan?
I think we're actually doing meetings so
all the
frequently.
meetings,
It's actually always in motion. What's changed a little bit lately is that we have an e-coms manager. She's amazing. Yeah, Tina.
She's mapping out the year for us. So we're planning a year in advance.
She's director of marketing as well. She came from she was global head of e-coms for William Grant. So she comes from a different industry, and actually, which is great sometimes when you get somebody to put their a different they're coming with a different hat on. So she's been great, and already growing our online sales, you know, in the space of what, like 2 months, 3 months?
3 months, yeah.
But also is sort of, I think, challenging us. And we're doctors, we're not business people. So we've been learning on the job, which, you know, has been like great fun. Like, and
Yeah. And we never saw ourselves like, oh no, you went into medicine, be a doctor, but I never thought we'd be on brand and marketing meetings and designing packaging, and like it's been really exciting. It's great.
Do you still think yourself as doctors, not business people?
Yeah, no, I'm like till the day that I die, I'm like first and foremost a doctor. I absolutely love my job. Like I literally love coming and see my patients every day. I love operating, like I love all aspects of it. I think at the start I kind of feel like we were accidental entrepreneurs, but now we actually are entrepreneurs. But we started off, but we're still doctors, and that's never going to change. Like as in, I could never not see my patients.
And I think that's why we're going to build a great business, because we always do have our patients at the core, or, you know, our integrity, our ethics, you know, and building out the best, you know, scaling the best dermatology model we can. You know, we plan to scale throughout Ireland and hopefully UK and UAE, you know, Middle East is where we see ourselves going with this side of things. But the entrepreneurial side, yeah, I've loved it. You know, I think people say you have few different careers. We've gotten to have an extra career like tagged on, and it really has been in our, you know, in our middle-aged lives.
Yeah.
You know, from our 40s on. We went to Japan this year with the EOY, the EY Entrepreneur of the Year group. We were finalists for that. And I think that has broadened our minds probably more than anything we've done. Meeting people who are sort of high energy, ADHD, sort of like we are. Like, I think when I went over, I thought it'd be a whole lot of businessmen or business egos, and it was completely opposite actually. But such an amazing group of people, and that inspires you even more. You see people, you know, you think, oh my God, are we taking on too much? And then you hear other people's stories, and it is, I think, being part of that sort of you know, having that networking going on is really, really great for us too, because it does inspire and it makes you think differently and outside the box. And I think that's one of the best things that we've done.
I actually think that's the best thing we've done in the last few years. Like, totally, I was the same, thinking it's all going to be so businessy and like kind of be a bit out of our depth. And just meeting people, so real, honest stories, like, you know,
same problems,
sleeping out of their car because the business went on, you know, like crazy stuff that you just kind of going, but really honest. It was like eye opening. But and now we're past that. Now part of the alumni, and I feel like we could just reach out, WhatsApp someone for an idea, and we have, you know, reached out and in the new businesses to people we met there. So yeah, it was an amazing experience.
Yeah, it's a really exciting world. So yeah, it was accidental, but I would consider myself both. What are they calling it now? Healthcare entrepreneur. Yeah. But it is, you know, with your practice, or say with my own, you know, my own dermatology practice, I closed 2 new patients there about 2.5 years ago, because my practice is so full. I like my schedules are full out to 2 years. So I'm not going to reach any more like it's returns I'm seeing, and I love my patients, and I'll never leave clinical practice. We probably need to, you know, cut it back a little bit as things grow, hopefully. But when you go into the business of healthcare, like having opened this, then we have 38,000 patients coming through. And that's because of what we created. I'm only seeing a very small percentage of them. But actually, I think you can be much more far-reaching in what you bring to healthcare if you operate a really, really good business. And I think what we're building with Surgical Institute Dublin, like bringing the standards of skincare, skin cancer care to the absolute top level. You know, Mohs surgery wasn't probably available in any private hospital in Dublin, the capital city of Ireland. It's the gold standard of treatment for non-melanoma skin cancer. We're bringing that now to Dublin and beyond, and that people can be treated in a you know, a skin cancer centre of excellence. Again, that's our entrepreneurship has brought that to other people, and we're hoping that IG Form is going to go all over the world.
How important is brand? Because just listening to you talk there, everything is credible. Everything is very, like, obviously that's the medical led, but you know what I mean. There's an implied excellence. You know, the Institute of Dermatology.
So
You know,
Gary,
everything is
if
very.
something isn't going to be excellent, we don't want to do it.
Yeah.
Like you know, it would break my heart if we did anything.
Yeah,
You know,
half-hearted or just
and there's been lots that has been suggested to us, and we're like, absolutely not. You know, we compromise care. This is centre of excellence. You know, could we not do things this way, or you know, and indeed, especially when it came to the surgical centre, and no, you know, that's what our legacy is going to be. I prefer to do less and do it brilliantly than ever do anything that's going to compromise
How
that.
do you deal with things when people don't meet your standards? Because I think that's very common. The founders up here, and then the standards can drop as they go down the chain. How do you deal with people when they don't meet your standards?
I think we deal with it very well. We've got a very open
an open policy
they
with the
just come
staff
in,
and the team.
yeah, you know,
come in and chat.
and actually we've brilliant we've brilliant nurse managers, and you know, our business manager, practice manager are great. So that's we deal with those sort of things really easily and quickly. I think anything like that, you just deal with it quickly, and usually we hire very well here, you know, so it's usually an easy conversation.
And the door is open. Like, we're not like, you know, up here and everyone else is here. That's why we're meeting with the whole team every week. And, you know, sometimes they will clearly come with a better idea and we'll go, yeah, that is better. And we'll go with that idea.
So communication is the key of
Absolutely.
everything.
Huge.
Clear
Open,
communication.
honest,
Do you have
yeah.
standard operating procedures? Do you have playbooks? Because I
sorry.
know
a million
people,
of them.
Yeah.
But it is patients we're dealing with.
Yeah,
so
this is what
yeah.
I'm trying to figure out, because I know people we've people who work in every industry. It's brilliant. That's the great thing about the pod, is we've people who have a bakery and then have like massive businesses that are worth hundreds of millions. For them listening, how can they take some of your excellence here? How can they take it? Is it like SOPs? Is it workbooks? Is it
We have
playbooks? What is it?
we've every policy under the sun, because you have to in a healthcare facility. But actually, I think for us, it's very easy to bring people. You know, if there's something slipping, our nurses, our team care about the patients, I think, as much as we do, because we've instilled that in them. So there's no problem if something isn't, that you bring someone in and go, "Oh, listen, this is happening. We need it," and they feel that like there's never a question. You know.
Yeah, I mean, they're with their patients all the time. They're with the same patient for
want
the
the
same
best for the
journey. They want
patients.
them to get the best outcome. So, yeah, they're actually thrilled. Like, you know, when the patient comes back in for follow up and they just look so much better, they're so excited about it. It's great. And then patients are great. Like, you know, so.
And then and Gary, I think the other simple answer to that too, there have been a few people who haven't been, you know, and they're let go. You know, we can't compromise our quality of care and our standards. And actually, it's even more important for their, you know, for the rest of their team, the nursing team, because then they're carrying somebody, and that's not fair. And that brings down
Everyone's morale. I mean, everyone's working really hard. They're really busy, and you can't be having one person doing two people's job. So, like, as we learned in EY, you have to have the right people on the bus, and that's just what we
in the right places as well.
So,
which
that's
is
what we've been
important
working
too.
on. That's what we've been
Bringing
working
people
on. Yeah.
around as well, and actually trying to make sure that you're working to someone's skill set. Like, we have moved people around in the business, and it's funny. It's just knowing what would be the right thing for which member of team. You see people go ahead and excel, you know, and playing to their strengths as well. And I think we really do have that team. And if people feel how passionately you feel about patients and the team, you know, I think that's huge. It really, really is. But I do think, you know, and this obviously does get harder as businesses grow and grow, but getting rid of negative energy quickly is really, really important, because it only takes one person to change the morale of a whole group, especially if they're all in close confines. So that's really, really important, and I think we're really careful when it rarely happens here, but it's very important to for the sake of everyone. Address early, yeah.
Before we move to a quick fire round, I have to get like a quick masterclass from you for both male and female, right? My wife is like, "Oh my God, you have to ask them these questions," right? So this is just for Michelle, and also for male founders. I think male founders have a tendency to just like bury it all. Like, I'd rather not know. So right, there's male founders first. They're listening. What are the simple things they should be doing daily to look after themselves and their skin?
Well, I think exercise, because I think the body and, your mind and body, they're so linked, as in, if you're not exercising, you just don't feel well. You just don't. And I think we could all get bogged down in our work life where just, working 16 hours a day. And I hear over and over again, people say, I just don't have time to fit it in. I mean, we are two of the busiest people that I know. And the way it works for me is I get up that extra bit early to get it done, because I know I won't get it done at night, and then I'm going to have a better day. But certainly for men who they don't want a 10-step skincare routine, sunscreen, the most simple thing, because it's going to prevent your fine lines and wrinkles, but also skin cancer. I mean, it's the number one cancer in Ireland. We have over 13,500 cases a year. And for men who don't want to go putting 20 products on, if that's that one product they could put on before they walk out of the house every day, that's it.
And Elta Clear for the men.
SPF, like a moisturizer with SPF or something?
Yeah, it is moisturizing SPF, but Elta Clear is the one that we would use for men, because it's absorbs so easily. The reason men don't like to wear it is because it's too white or too sticky or too gloopy, and then they just won't wear it. So
What's that called for people that are listening and want to actually get it? What's it called?
Elta MD
Elta
UV
MD.
Clear.
It's UV Clear that men love. It's the only thing I could ever get John, my partner, to use. It's got hyaluronic acid and niacinamide in it too, so it helps with anti-aging, and it goes on really well.
And that's a daily thing.
Daily,
Every day.
yeah.
That's
365 days a year. Yeah.
Okay, great. That's the box tick for the men.
Yeah.
For
And I would say for men as well, if you're just talking about skincare, if they can do two things, actually, if they can do three, can I have three things?
Of course,
Yeah. So my non-negotiables for men and women are the sunblock in the morning, preferably a tinted, actually, if it's for a woman, because they'll wear them, because that blocks out high intensity visible light from computer screens and lights in the office. And
Women are more
indoor.
prone to pigmentation.
is there ones you recommend?
Yeah.
I just use the Elta Clear tinted. Really easy. One stop shop in the morning. It's got hyaluronic acid and niacinamide. I keep things really simple for my patients. Sunblock in the morning and a retinoid at nighttime. And retinoid is the most potent thing. It's stimulating collagen in your skin, decreasing fine lines, wrinkles, pore size. That's it. And what I say to people, to my male patients, is you brush your teeth twice a day, do you? Yes. So morning with your teeth, you do the sunblock. Nighttime with your teeth, you do the retinol. That's it. And that, you don't really need anything else. So they're my non-negotiables for a man. And if they can be doing regain morning and evening as well, just getting in ahead of things, that it's such an easy thing to do at the same time, and can really help tackle male pattern hair loss, because it doesn't bother them until it's sort of gone. And if they could have been ahead of it, preferably from the age of 18, like all my pals in the States run it from the age of 18, and it makes such a difference. Yeah, just being ahead of it.
And then our female listeners?
Same. So when maybe not the regain unless they have female pattern hair loss.
Yeah, but the morning and evening sunscreen and retinoid is the same.
Yeah, so tinted zinc containing sunblock. I always want zinc. My favorite for women is the tinted version of the Elta Clear, and then nighttime using a retinoid. And that's all that matters.
Yeah,
They don't
everyone
need
wants
to
to add
spend
the
a
other stuff, but they don't need to spend a fortune. The vitamin C's, they're all added bonus, but if you can just get the basics right. Yeah.
Keep it simple. Yeah.
Yeah, it's really good, because this pod is all about trying to be holistic, trying to look at the body, business, brain. It's brilliant. We get practical, tactical stuff. Just before we move on to the something kind of occurred to me there as you were talking through. What do you make of there's a lot of high street things popping up, doing kind of quick Botox, quick skincare, things like that. They seem to be popping up quite a lot. What's your kind of thoughts on that?
Yeah, there's definitely a market for it. I heard Philip McGlade on your pod before, who's brought Botox to the masses. I think his business is amazing, and I think he's a great guy, brilliant founder, so innovative in the way he thinks. So there is, and actually when it comes to therapy, it's always medics. It's doctors and dentists that inject. I'm completely good with that. My fear is people using illegal Botox, illegally sourced Botox injected by non-medics, and that's popping up in beauty salons, and same with fillers as well. So
and people just not properly trained. Do you know how to eat that? Yeah.
So it's a huge problem. It's a bigger problem for younger people because they can't afford the normal clinics. So that's my fear there. But I think there's I think there's a growing market, and in Ireland we're doing well for the most part at it.
What's growing strongly for you within that space? What's kind of really growing strongly? What have you seen a huge demand develop in the last kind of 4 or 5 years?
I think there's a big swing when it comes to the cosmetic side of things. I think you're talking about back to the more natural look. So people, and I hated that overfilled, dermal filler look. People looking like they've been blown up by a balloon. people are now trying to go back to biostimulation, so generating their own collagen. And that's by things like lasers, aggressive lasers, radio frequency microneedling, using a different type of filler called Sculptra, which I love. That's all that I've allowed in my face since I was about 29. So I'm doing it like 16 years on. That was huge in the States when I was there, and it's become more of a thing in Ireland as well, now in the UK. So stimulating your own collagen. Polynucleotides, I think, are great as well. Very easy, very little downtime. So it's getting away from that horrible, expressionless, overfilled, weird look, which I think people look older and less attractive with.
And you thought, what have you seen?
And people focusing more on their skincare to maintain it. Like, there's no point in going and lasering all away your pigmentation, your redness, and then not wearing your sunblock. Like, it really annoys me when I see people spending their hard-earned cash in other places, and they've done course after course of IPL, for example, intensives, like to treat the broken capillaries in the brain. And then they're coming in and you're just like, you're not wearing sunblock. And nobody told them to wear sunblock. So if you just do one proper course, you'll never have to do a course again. You'll just do top-ups every so often. But that just drives me mad.
It's so 360 piece, that bit,
And our nurses are there to give education. So nobody's allowed to walk out the door with their sunblock on. It's just part of the conversation that you're having. And then obviously when the treatment's done, the sunblock's put on, and it's always checked. Like, are you wearing a sunblock? Are you wearing a sunblock?
And that's holistic skincare, rather than just treating different problems and ignoring the rest.
Yeah.
Again, thanks to our sponsors Nostra, who take such pride in securing their clients. Kevin talks a lot about immutable backup. It's the difference between recovering from a cyber attack or not. Cybersecurity is made so complicated by so many, and Nostra work to make it easy and flexible so it doesn't stop your business. It's affordable and really delivers, because no one wants to get that attack phone call. Now back to the pod.
Brilliant. Let's do our quick fire round. What book should everyone read?
Mine would have to be Outlived.
I knew you were going to say, "Hi, Peter, it's me again."
If you're ever interviewing them, I need to be here.
I'll let you know. Incredible book. Really, really interesting.
Good to Great, Jim Collins.
Someone's doing their business homework.
Yes, really like that. But sorry, if you're asking me any other book, Poor, Caitriona O'Sullivan. If you just want a really good 24-hour read, I literally inhaled that book.
Hours. It was all in one day. Another good one by him is B 2.0. That's same as Good to Great as Jim Collins. Yeah. A really, really good book as well for anyone who's starting into business.
Amazing. What's your superpower?
I think what our superpower sort of is translating the science into actual practical clinical stuff. And that's what we're trying to do in the clinic, in everything that we do. We're both very scientifically driven, but we're trying to translate it into outcomes. And I think that's what we're doing with ID formulas,
Same for you?
For me, it's my family. Constant support. Like, we work so hard. My daughter's minded by my parents since I went back to work. Many years ago. She's 13 and a half now. And yeah, that allows me to do all that I do.
Nice. What daily habit is the secret to your success?
For me, exercise first thing in the morning, 6 a.m. Yeah. Without it, I'm not the same person.
I'm the exact same.
God, I think this sounds like a really stupid one, but water. I drink loads of water as well. I really feel like hydration is a huge part of keeping ourselves healthy as well.
The obvious ones are the best. The simple stuff you talked about are the best. You didn't give like a list of
If I
20
haven't
things.
drank enough water, I lose my energy.
Cognitively, you can feel it. Okay, what's the most interesting? This one should be unbelievable. What's the most interesting experiment you've done in your life or business?
Oh, I think that's the clinical trial we're doing right now. Like, building it and working. Sorry, obviously I'm going to be biased on it, but So my background is translation science with psoriasis. So I used to run clinical trials in phase 3 clinical trials and all of the biological therapies in the States for years. So I love clinical trials, but building it for our own product. Like, I was working, like, these are big pharma. So actually trying to show exactly how our supplement performed. I think designing that experiment, what's going on right now, that was really
You
exciting
have
for
to
me.
nerd out on it.
Yeah.
What about you, Nikki?
The most exciting.
What's the most interesting experiment you've done?
Well, more to do with just, do we take on that challenge of opening the surgical centre? I think that's going to be the most exciting thing for me when we open the doors in another few months. It just is going to change how we manage skin cancer in Ireland and how I can give proper care to my patients and not have them drive over and back from Donegal multiple times. We can just do it on the one day. That for me is yeah, it's going to be amazing.
It sounds incredible. I'm going to give you €1 million. You can invest it in one person or one company, not yourself. Who?
I'm going to give it to my daughter because she is a budding little entrepreneur.
Love it.
She was in Young Entrepreneurs Club in her primary school, and now she's doing robotics every lunchtime and like basically coded a song yesterday.
Amazing.
And like she just has all these ideas. So I'm going to obviously can't give it to her right now. She's like, but yeah, I'll give it to her.
Let's start a fund.
Yeah.
Okay. Caitriona.
I think mine would be Amy Connolly. Not that she'd allow you to invest, but because she's certainly bootstrapped. But the way Amy thinks, she's her energy. I talk to her sometimes about different, formulations, things she's doing. She's going to grow and grow and grow. That'll be a brilliant investment of my money, I think. And I always admire people who are bootstrapped. We've never taken a loan for this business. Everything has been grown from us up, and I think that's a huge thing we're very, very proud of. I really think entrepreneurs who have built it from the very beginning, sorry, not that they're, people do need to get investment, but watching people like that, there's such a drive.
There's hunger there.
Yeah. And they're the people to back, but they won't let you in. I'm not sure.
That's why they're bootstrapped. What's one thing you strongly agree that people otherwise strongly disagree with?
I think the way we work medicine and the way we look at our health here in Ireland, I think is backwards. So people don't want to go to the doctor unless there's something wrong with them. Sorry, not that I even have a GP, but I think preventative health is the way forward. It's something I'm going for colonoscopy tomorrow, my very first colonoscopy, because I want to be ahead of everything. And if you can optimize your health and the way you're living and do everything you can to detect things before they're a problem, that is the way we have to move. And that is the opposite of the mindset of Irish people. We are reactive and we need to be preventative. And that's part of what we're trying to build with this, moving into the world of longevity science in a proper scientific way, that we're doing the right tests, that we're doing things that actually improve outcomes. And that's, I think there needs to be a pivot in the way we think here.
Why are we so reactive? I'll come to you, Nikki, in 1 second. Why are we? Because I've wondered about this a lot. Why are we so reactive?
So because we're head in the sand, people.
Culturally?
Yeah, the way medicine is done here is that completely kids in the States go to their pediatrician every year and get everything checked until they're 18, then they're an adult. From a dermatology point of view, people get their moles checked every year. It's all about preventative health. Here, it's like only when you're dying sick do you go to the doctor. And then sometimes it's too late. You missed something that could have been easily picked up.
Yeah. So I think that culture needs to change hugely in Ireland. And it was actually saved the government a fortune.
Yeah.
That's the weird thing I never understand. Nikki, what do you believe those people find weird?
That you're supposed to wear sunscreen every day. Like, how many times do I have to say it? As in, it's
Nikki. Yeah, it's raining half the year.
No, but I come from a photobiology background, and the only month of the year in Ireland, because we have tested this with physicists, that you cannot get UV damage is January. And literally with that rain outside and everyone's covered up, but you can get UV damage every other month of the year. So I feel like everyone in Ireland thinks there's different suns in different countries. So you go to Spain, there's one sun, and that it's the one sun for all of us. And yeah, if we could just change the mindset. I just recently did a study with a medical student looking at our own patients coming through the door here and other patients, but they're just not getting it, that you need to wear it all the time for prevention, the fine lines, the wrinkles, but the skin cancer. So all the time.
Our friends at Rory's Travel Club have inspired some questions for us around travel. What's your number one travel tip?
I think flying is so bad for your body. Yeah. We get to see overall health through the skin. So the way your skin becomes dehydrated and your lips just show the overall, because you have to be very dehydrated before it shows in your skin. And also my bowels don't move for two days afterwards. So I think really, really taking in more hydration than usual, really, really important when you're flying.
Are electrolytes important?
Electrolytes aren't as important when you're flying, not that I know of. There shouldn't be any way that being on a flight could change your sodium potassium balance, but certainly we do become dehydrated.
Nikki, what's your number one tip?
Mine is basically when you're coming back from a holiday, make sure you have another one booked, because
That's a great one.
work
We do
so
that.
hard.
We do that.
And when we get a holiday, like, but you have to have something to look forward to. So yeah.
That's really good.
What's your favorite hotel in the world?
My favorite is actually in Ireland. I love Ballyfin. I think there's something magical about Ballyfin. So, yeah.
Nikki?
Mine is the Master Al Arab in Dubai.
I knew you'd say that.
It's designed like
We're
a
hoping to move
a
to
super
Dubai.
yacht. Yeah.
So Nikki,
I'll go over and do the lunch over there. I'll do it over there happily.
Yeah.
Definitely hitting up that. What was your best ever travel experience?
Oh, Japan. The EOY thing.
Really?
It really was. It was sort of, it changed the way I thought. I've traveled all over and I've had lots of lovely destinations, but an actual trip that I think changed me, I think that would have been one of them.
I've heard that a lot. I know a lot of my friends were on that trip, and I've heard that a lot. It was special. Nikki?
Mine was actually last year too. We went from Nevada to Utah and into Arizona, and we stayed on dude ranches, and I just had so much fresh air and outdoor time. Yes, a 2.5 week road trip. Amazing. Yeah.
Love that. Finally, what's one skin tip you give to everyone listening? Just one.
I think you know what that's going to be.
We're like
Water.
We're like a
Water.
No,
Sunblock.
sunblock. You have to say the same
best
thing. Yeah.
anti-aging cream and the best anti-skin cancer mechanism you can have. It's just a no-brainer.
I'll play
Irish-
the Baz Luhrmann thing, and remember,
Yes,
always just
exactly.
wear your sunscreen.
Yeah.
That was incredible. Where can people learn more about you and your multitude of businesses?
So our website is Institute of Dermatologists.ie, and we're also on Instagram, same handle, Institute of Dermatologists. We each have our own as well, and we're on LinkedIn too.
Incredible. I'll put everything in the show notes, everything you listed and everything. When is ID Formulas out? Because is there a wait list?
Yeah, there is a wait list. There's actually thousands on the wait list already. So it is out at the end of March.
Brilliant. We'll make sure we revisit that at the end of March. This was an absolute pleasure. We're going to have to do part 2 again. Thank you so much.
Thanks,
Gary.
Gary.
Thanks,
Thank
Maya.
you. Thank you.